What's your outlook and your gauge on him this year?
Right here.
Danny Dimes, a.k.a. Daniel Jones of the New York Football Giants. Look, Daniel Jones had his ups and downs last year. He had a couple games where he had multiple touchdowns, like 4 touchdown games,
Dude,
and he looked fierce.
People
he
were
just looked
ecstatic.
Yeah, and rightfully so. The dude was dropping literally dimes instantly. So big fan of what Daniel Jones put on tape last year. Johnny, what are you seeing from Daniel Jones? What's your outlook and your gauge on him this year?
You look at what Daniel Jones did on a per game basis, 16.2 fantasy points per game, which ranked dead 16, number 16 overall. So he's right in the middle
of the pack.
Middle of the pack. I do like the fact that they, address that offensive line because he had a lot of pressures. And if you're looking at his pressure completed percentage, it is pretty bad, 38.9%. When he is pressured. So they want to get him a little bit more time. There are a couple things I am concerned about with Daniel Jones. He did have 24 touchdowns, which is pretty nice, similar to, or he had more than Kyler Murray. But the nice part about it is that he's coming into his second year. He should have a better grasp on the NFL. It does suck that he's getting a new offensive coordinator and a new head coach because he has to learn a new playbook. However, you're looking at the wide receiver weapons he has; they're pretty good. But my main focus for Daniel Jones and him really taking that next step and becoming a true fantasy asset that you can more rely on a stream from a week to week option would be his turnover danger plays. He had 51 danger plays, which is number 2 amongst
not something you want to be number 2 in.
No, not at all. So danger plays are just basically where you put your team at the risk of turning over the ball. So that's how that is gauged. But he did have some nice, talking about Danny Dimes, he had 18 money throws, which was ranked or good for 12th in the league. So
he was great on play action too. Like you look at his play action completion percentage, 69.4. That was number 9 in the league. So I think, Johnny, a lot of what you're saying here goes in line with what's going to be this new offense. And they brought in Jason Garrett, right? And this is as the offensive coordinator. If you know about Jason Garrett, it's run, 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 clap, clap, clap. Like that's what this guy does on the field. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. I've been doing some reading. You look at what Judge has said, the head coach has said about what Jason Garrett's going to do as offensive coordinator. And he said, look, it's going to be like what he did in Dallas. So now you got to look at what happened in Dallas. And Dak did have some very good years under Jason Garrett as a play caller in Dallas. And he did have a similar setup, really strong running back, weapons at tight end, wide receiver.
Doesn't necessarily like to, but can. Danny Dimes had 45 carries last year for 279.
So I think we could see a situation, you look at some of his stats are right in the middle. You look at some of what he's capable to do. We're probably a year away, more realistically, from Danny Dimes being a quarterback you could use. I think he's streamable in games this year, and I think, I wouldn't be surprised if he snuck into the top 12. If he was a QB1 by the end of the year, I wouldn't be completely surprised by it at the 11-12 range. But I think we're a year away.
Yeah, he has the rushing upside to get him into the top 12, so I would agree with that.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Whisperers podcast. You can hear more from John and Travis on Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TF Whisperers.